I'm Latricia Jackson.
And I'm Fanico Glover Jr. And today's event is called Brunch and Ballots, sponsored by King County Equity Now. Today's event, we're here to educate our community members on different things that's happening in the city. Right now, we have elections that's coming up for the 2025 year. We want to make sure that everybody is an informed voter. So today, we're bringing this opportunity to hear directly from the candidates on different policies that they want to push forward to make sure that we have a voice and being heard here in Seattle and King County.
We want to thank all of our sponsors and, of course, you, the viewer, for coming. Hope you enjoy.
All right, everyone, we making it to the end, and we would love to welcome our current District 2 representative, Girmay Zahilay.
You said it right, brother.
I've been practicing. But Girmay, thank you for taking some time to be here with us today. I really appreciate you coming down here. Please inform the people that don't know who you are, what your campaign is about, and why you're running for King County Executive.
Thank you so much. What was that?
90 seconds.
In 90 seconds. Thank you all so much for the time. It's always beautiful to be here with King County Equity Now and all the amazing people who are building a future for all of our communities. My name is Girmay Zahilay. I'm the chair of the King County Council. I'm running for county executive because I believe that this can be a region of safety and opportunity for everyone. I know what it can be because it was for me and my family. For those of you who I haven't had a chance to meet, my family came over to South Seattle and Skyway when I was 3 years old as refugees. And we faced a lot of the issues that a lot of our communities in this area face, rising cost of living, not enough affordable housing, community safety issues, and my family struggled a lot. We even lived in a homeless shelter when I was a child in the Chinatown International District. But because of effective local government programs like affordable public housing and good public schools and a social safety net and jobs, I was able to go from that situation to now representing my community as chair of the council. But that story of progress and opportunity is shutting on a lot of people, and it's not available to enough people. And so I believe that this can be a position of real partnership with all of our communities to expand opportunity, keep everybody safe, and make sure we all have a chance to live a good life in this world.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. We have a couple questions that we want to ask you, so the audience can get to know you a little bit better, and we can get to know you a little bit better.
Okay, so to start, explicitly, do you support reparations for those descendants of chattel slavery with their decades of anti-Black policies within the county? And what mechanism would you support to fund and implement said reparations?
Yes, I do, definitely do. And I've supported many efforts at the state level. For example, right now I know that there's an effort to fund a study for reparations at the state level, and I am trying to contribute to that monetarily so that we can have an effective statewide reparations program right here in Washington State. I've also been fighting to remove some of the barriers for reparations like I-200, I-1000, the state level directives. I put forward multiple motions during my time on the council to call on the governor to repeal the directives that stem from those initiatives that block the ability to direct resources on the basis of somebody's lineage. And so I know that there still continue to be obstacles and there are workarounds, but at the state level is where I focused a lot of my effort. At the local level, it's been a lot of directing the minimal resources that we do have toward communities that are descendants of the enslaved. And so that looks like money into affordable housing, it looks like money into home ownership opportunities, it looks like resources for community safety, participatory budgeting programs. And so I can go down the list, but the short answer is yes, been advocating at the state level and continuing to do the work at the local level too.
Awesome, thank you. County data often masks disparities by failing to disaggregate by race. How will you ensure county data systems specifically track outcomes for Black residents to hold departments accountable for equity? But when we say specifically, we want to make sure that we highlight the African Americans
Absolutely.
in that Black residents as well.
You have my commitment that I would work with you to disaggregate data. We know if we're just tracking the word Black, that hides a lot of the nuance and a lot of the specific types of obstacles that different communities face. And so I would work with you on that disaggregation across all of the departments when we're tracking how effective different efforts and initiatives that we are doing are.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, young Black adults are priced out of housing countywide. How will you leverage county resources to create affordable housing, and specifically that's accessible for Black residents, given all the empty units within the county?
It's a great question. Number one, I want to make sure that we have identified all of our surplus and underutilized properties that the county owns all around the region, and then collaborate with the city, state, and other levels of government to have a joint land bank so we know where the land is. I've done work to identify those properties through Sound Transit. I've only been on the Sound Transit board for a year, but even before I got on the board, I've worked with organizations like Africantown Community Land Trust to identify properties that are underutilized and then transfer them into the hands of community-based organizations, especially ones led by our African American community leaders. And so I will continue to do that first and foremost because we know that land is vital and land is finite, and it promotes wealth building. In addition to the land, I think it's important that we use the resources, the funding that we have to partner up with Black-led organizations to promote homeownership opportunities. You can do that through community land trust models. You can do that through down payment and assistance programs. And so continuing to focus on the land and the resources to promote homeownership and land ownership are top priorities for me.
Awesome, thank you. Black community should have control. Black community should control the resources intended to serve Black communities. How will you ensure Black-led organizations receive direct funding and decision-making authority over programs directly impacting our community and our lives?
I say it has to do with education, focus, and then resources. When I say education, it's very important that our communities know about the budget process. And our budgeting system is not intuitive. You know, for example, at the King County level, we have a 2-year budget. You have to not wait until the council has received the budget. You have to really start advocating at the department level because the executive consolidates the departmental requests, creates a budget, and then transmits it over to the council. And a lot of our communities, the ones who do know about the budget process, often end up advocating at the council level. And by that point, it's really hard to get your priorities in. So what I've done is host things like Budget 101 town halls in partnership with community-based organizations to really open up that process and make sure that communities have a heads up about the budgeting process before it's been transmitted to the council. I've also launched programs like Build the Bench to teach our communities how most effectively to advocate even separate from the budget. Say you want to pass an ordinance, what are the steps to passing an ordinance? So that civic education piece is something that I want to take from one-off programs that I've been doing and really bake it into the executive's office through a Department of Community and Civic Education. Then there's the focus piece, which is the resources that we do have, we need to direct them in an equitable way to the communities that are most harmed historically and currently. And that's what I've been doing through all of our budgeting processes and giving agency to our communities through programs like participatory budgeting. And lastly, it's expanded resources and making sure those resources have a specific amount dedicated to our African American communities.
All right. Gun violence continues to devastate Black communities across the county. What are some prevention, intervention, and healing resources that you will direct back to the Black communities specifically surrounding gun violence?
Yeah, gun violence is super complicated because you can address it from prevention all the way through the emergency response and restoration piece. And I've been focused on every stage of it. At the prevention phase, we know that our communities, our young people who are most likely to shoot or be shot are the ones who have faced trauma, who have faced poverty, who have faced displacement, who are retaliating because they lost a loved one. And so everything that we can do to stabilize their lives before they get on that path is critical. That means housing, like the ones that I'm working on, like the Youth Achievement Center, to provide 100 units of housing to unhoused Black youth. Or it could be mental health resources, like what I'm working on through the Crisis Care Centers Initiative, to have a youth-focused crisis care center initiative so that young people have somewhere to go when they are in crisis before they make a decision like that. to making sure that young people have after-school activities, just more basketball. You know, I through the King County Parks Levy, we put more resources into basketball and after-school activities so that young people have more places to go. And then there's the intervention piece, which is the young people who are on the verge of shooting or being shot. And that means we're investing money in violence interrupters, in space activation so that areas that are most likely to have shooting have better lighting and better music and de-escalation training, like the work that we've been doing in Rainier Beach Safeway parking lot to make sure that that physical location does not have shooting activity through those activation techniques. And then lastly, it's the restoration piece. I don't want to have a situation where so many mothers who've lost their children don't have the support that they need to heal, or siblings who've lost their brother or their sister are out there feeling like they have to shoot back because they don't have the intervention and restoration services. So really investing in those organizations that are led by parents who've lost their kids or siblings who've lost their siblings, and making sure that they have the resources they need to do the outreach, to go on walks, to do healing journeys. I've been on those walks with those community members, and it's really powerful and healing. And so continuing to invest in them for that restorative service is really important.
I don't know if we have time for a lightning round, or we want to go straight to audience questions. So yes, lightning round.
You guys want lightning or questions? Is anybody? Lightning. Lightning? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Do you support disaggregating data for descendants of African American chattel slavery in King County?
Hell yeah.
Do you support reparations for descendants of American chattel slavery that have endured decades of anti-black policies and practices in King County?
Yes, sir.
Do you support establishment of a $1 billion reparative development fund financed by public and private sectors to support affordable housing, business development, and workforce training programs as a means of addressing economic and social impacts of systemic racism? Do you support Black community control over the resources that are supposed to impact their lives? Do you support significantly increasing opportunities for young people to earn money? Will you prioritize funding for shovel-ready community-led affordable housing, like the Cairo site and affordable home ownership project in the Central District? And lastly, will you support at the county establishing an office of freedmen or descendants of the American chattel slavery, similar to like the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Office of Immigrant and Refugee Services?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
You can take one question?
We do have one community question. Yeah.
Yes, how you doing? Good afternoon. One of the things you talked about is giving our youth education opportunities, right? And employment opportunity.
Yeah.
But you know, we have Google with headquarters. We have Google with big headquarters here. We've got Amazon. We've got Microsoft. And I believe, right at the turn of the century, we had a digital divide issue. That digital divide with our youth is now a canyon.
Yeah.
So if we're going to give our youth opportunities for employment, how do we give them opportunities employment that spurs entrepreneurship, spurs careers in the emerging economies where the investment dollars are being made, where they see they're not part of what's going down at Amazon. They're not part of what's going on at Google. They're just users of the technology, but they're not creators, producers, and owners of it. What would you do about that?
I love that question, and I've just been thinking about it. I've been putting together how I want my office to be set up if I were to be elected to this position. Right now, there is no Office of Economic Opportunity, and that's one of the offices that I want to set up, an Office of Economic Opportunity, and it would do exactly what you're talking about right now. There is a lot of wealth being generated in this region, and in the communities that I grew up with, you know, Rainier Vista, New Holly, the Central District, are not benefiting from that growth. And so I want King County to act as a bridge between those communities, making sure that we're convening the tech community, especially on the verge of this AI boom that we're going to be living in. we're going to be going through a lot of challenging times. I call it the pre-AI economy and the post-AI economy. And in between time, a lot of jobs are going to be displaced and a lot of wealth is going to be generated. And if we don't act fast, it won't be us benefiting from that wealth. And so convening those big positions, not just at the ground level, the CEO level, and bringing them together with our communities at places like the William Grove Center, which I was proud to invest in, and making sure we're building those relationships to create career pathways is going to be a top priority for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.